scenic campus here on the University of Portland is a bit wet today on the second Saturday in April, and it sets the stage for this evening's USL Western Conference tilt between Portland Timbers 2 and Sacramento Republic FC, one that is sure to be an intriguing matchup between two sides who have gotten off to a very hot start here in 2019. And with that, we welcome you into the broadcast booth here at Merlo Field alongside former U.S. Women's National Team player and current Thorns Academy Director Laura Schott. I'm Fletcher Johnson. Laura, we talked about the excitement coming into this matchup. Two teams who are going to find out a lot about themselves here over 90 minutes tonight.
Absolutely. This is such an exciting matchup. For Sacramento, we have a team that likes to counterattack, likes to get their wide backs into the attack and press forward. So for Sacramento, they're going to be looking to get into the attack, into the attacking third, and send crosses in, looking to finish. For Portland, they like to counterattack too. So it's going to be an interesting matchup of two teams going at each other at the top of the standings, with Portland going forward. They've had a lot of goals so far in the beginning of the season, so they're going to look to build on that at home and continue that streak.
Both teams have played 5 games so far this year, and as mentioned, sit on top of the Western Conference. Go ahead and take a look at the USL standings to this point. You'll notice that for Portland Timbers 2 and Sacramento Republic, they've only played 5 matches, whereas the other two teams on 10 points, Tulsa and New Mexico, have played 6. So Timbers 2 and Sacramento in very good shape at this point, as they will try and take that next step forward. T2, meanwhile, plays 5 of their next 7 at home, so an opportunity to really pick up momentum as we head into the early part of the summer here in the USL Championship season. That leads us to our players to watch this evening, and we'll start off with T2. Foster Langsdorff is 26 years old. He was born in Portland, Oregon. It seems like he was made for this T2 side with the way he played last year and the way he started off 2019.
Foster Langsdorff is a dynamic attacker. Last year he had 14 goals. This year he already has 1, finishing across from Asprilla in the last home game. He's going to be a player to watch today. He likes to get in front of goal. He has a knack for finishing, and we'll expect him to do that again today. Meanwhile,
for Sacramento Republic FC, it is their goal scorer and someone that's very familiar to this club. The longest you've been able to follow him, he's been in a Sacramento Republic shirt for 4 seasons. In his second stint with the club, already 5 goals to his name this season.
Wass is such a veteran. He's a great finisher. He gets in front of goal, and he puts the ball away. He has a couple goals off of PKs this year, but he's also a fantastic finisher with 3 more goals to his name already this season.
For the two clubs, it's feast or famine when they face off with one another. 9 all-time meetings coming into today. No draws between the two sides. Sacramento holding a slight 5-4 advantage. All right, when we come back, we'll get to the opening kickoff and starting lineups here from Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland. USL Championship Soccer is coming up after this. Back live as we're just about set for kickoff between Portland Timbers 2 and Sacramento Republic FC. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. As we welcome you back, it is time now to take a look at our starting lineups. We'll start off with the visiting Sacramento Republic FC. One change from last week's lineup that beat Austin Bold to 4 4-3-3. The change, Sam Werner in at that attacking right winger spot. Jaime Villarreal is in that central part of midfield as well, off a Team of the Week performance 1 week ago.
Villarreal got the game-winning goal in the game against Austin, and today he's going to be a very instrumental part of this Sacramento team.
Meanwhile, for Portland Timbers, too, a bit of a change for Cameron Knowles, the second-year manager. What looks to be a 4-4-2 for T2. They're used to playing a 4-2-3-1. We do see some changes, just actually one change from last week, though. Gio Calixtro will get the start up top alongside Foster Langsdorff. Calixtro, 2 goals a couple weeks ago against Los Dos.
Something to watch in this game will be that formation change and how Langsdorff and Calixtro work together on that front line.
Mike Hohenholz is our head referee today. He has blown his whistle, and we are underway between Portland Timbers 2 and Sacramento Republic here at Merlo Field. About 51 degrees here this evening. Temperature will hover around there throughout the course of the night. Feels colder to the players down on the field, though, as it is windy down there. About 15-mile-per-hour winds out of the south this evening. So that should play some sort of role, as well as the rain falling playing a role as well here in this match. We look at both of these teams. Sacramento Republic FC 3-1-1 so far this year, coming off a 1-0 result over Austin Bold. Most of their matches have come at home so far this year, so they've taken advantage of the home matches here early in the season. Meanwhile, for Portland Timbers too, a team that has gone out on the road 3 times, make it 4 times already so far here in 2019, and gotten 3 results from those matches, including a come-from-behind 3-2 win against Oklahoma City last week. They were down 2-0 at halftime and managed to work their way all the way back and find 3 points on the road. Foul called here as Hansen was the man that was fouled. It'll be a restart for T2 in their own defensive third. Fletcher Johnson, Laura Schott here with you at Merlo Field. Pleasure to have you along here on this Saturday evening. And Laura, just a couple minutes in so far, what are some of the things you'll be looking for out of T2 to show you that they're up to the task tonight?
Well, you mentioned the wind. So right now, the Timbers are going into the winds. They have a headwind going into this game. So when you're going into a headwind, you have to make adjustments maybe on the fly in the first couple minutes of the match. So we'll look for adjustments that they make. Maybe they're playing more balls on the ground. Maybe they're keeping a little bit more possession early on than they would normally, not sending balls forward so quickly as they're sorting out this headwind.
Ball back to Jake Leaker, the 23-year-old keeper from St. Louis, Missouri, who has it back at his feet once again in his first season with T2. T2 goalkeeping coach Aiden Brown very excited about Leaker, thinks he has real potential to grow as he gets older and become an even bigger part of this Timbers organization. Eric Williamson, back from some time with the US U23s, missed the home opener as he was over in Europe playing for the U23s. Got 45 minutes against Egypt back now a few weeks ago. As here comes Farfan dribbling up the left-hand side. Farfan, of course, the Gresham, Oregon product, Centennial High School. As Williamson's dispossessed and Sacramento clears. Dizpay clears it across midfield. It's cut out there by Tainter. And now out wide for Werner, who is playing out on the left. So that's a change we see here early on in this matchup. Werner playing on the left and Tyler Blackwood playing on the right. Blackwood last week was on that left-hand side for the matchup with Austin Bold, and a familiar name to T2 supporters, Viljan Bijev, was in the starting 11 last week for Sacramento. He is on the bench tonight for Simon Elliott's side, the second-year manager for Sacramento. Cross comes in floated towards the penalty spot, and a foul called on Deckel Keenan as he rose up. So it will be a restart for Portland here in the 4th minute as we take another look.
If you're the Timbers, it's nice to get that moment where you take that first corner, you take that first cross, and you're able to, you know, obviously there was a foul. You don't get any shot off, you don't give anything away, just to get that under your belt and move on with the game.
Gomez Goes back to Tainer. And eventually controlled by Jordan McCrary, player who was just signed a couple weeks ago, spent last season with Seattle Sounders. Speedy left back for Sacramento. Back with it at his feet, tries to work his way around Sierakowski and does. Down towards the end line. Cuts it back on Sierakowski. Sierakowski grabs him, advantage played. And now a shot blocked by Diz Pay. Sacramento still with it though. Good build-up here from the visitors early on. Gomez cross towards the back post. Header won by Werner, but can't do anything with it, and then cleared out to touch by Sierakowski.
It was an intelligent clearance there by Langsdorff, just to get it wide and get it out for the throw-in after taking a little heat there around the 18.
Werner back into the box. Leaker coming off of his line, catches that solidly. Always worry in those moments when the rain's falling, a bit windy, but Leaker did well there to make sure he kept his hands on it. T2 has had no problem scoring goals so far this year, as Leaker's pressured and forced to clear out to midfield. Langsdorff heads on, but can't find his man. Calixtro, though, deflects the clearance, and Sacramento remains with it. T2 third in the league in goals scored coming into the weekend with 12, but they are yet to keep a clean sheet. So I know that Cameron Knowles, as excited as he is about the goals being scored by his side, would certainly like to see the defensive effort ramp up a little bit, and what a better way to do it than against a team that's 3-1-1 so far this year in Sacramento here tonight.
Getting a shutout today would be outstanding for T2.
Williamson maintaining possession in front of Skundrich. Nutmegs him, but Hurtado was not tracking back to come get that ball. Sorry, another Seattle Sounders 2 product. Tries to push that one forward, but Leaker quickly off his line to collect.
One strength of T2 is their ability to interchange in the attack. You see Hurtado, you see Farfan, you see Williamson. They free flow around the outside of the field on the wings, and they're able to interchange, and that's so difficult to defend. Here comes Langsdorff trying to chase down a ball in the box, but it is Keenan who gets there in front of him and knocks it out to touch. First real dangerous ball over the top from T2. Langsdorff just not able to get there in front of Keenan. As we mentioned, Mike Hohenholz is our referee. You're looking over on that far side. That is Joshua Hames. That's the far side linesman. Jeffrey Skinker is the near side linesman, and Justin St. Pierre, our 4th official tonight. Sierakowski has to come over to get a little bit of treatment. Looks like he's bleeding, so he will get looked at and cleaned up. Interesting time for Sierakowski to have to leave the field here. T2's created some attack and entered the final third, got a throw in on the outside. It's not the time you want to go down a man.
So T2 down a man for the moment. Sierakowski still getting looked at. Heavy touch there by Hurtado, and foul is called. Hohenholz thought about playing advantage, decided to go ahead and blow the whistle, and Sacramento will get the restart. Dekel Kanan, the 34-year-old from Israel, previously with FC Cincinnati, was their captain last year as they won the regular season title, but not kept as the club made the move to Major League Soccer. Werner's right-footed cross, easy stuff for Jake Leaker. A lot of these crosses for Sacramento so far here, Laura, floated balls that just kind of hang up there and really provide Leaker an opportunity to easily come and collect.
Yeah, early on I expected to see crosses from McCrary and from Sac Republic looking to just put balls in the box and see what happens. Here on the road, they're going to look to get something early, try to create some momentum. And they've gotten into that final third a few times, but they might want to put a little bit more pace on those crosses, send them in, challenge Leaker to come out and make some saves, take some crosses that are a little more difficult to manage.
Foul called as Sierakowski was taken down. Williamson's ball trying to sneak it through for Farfan, not enough on it. And eventually off the left leg of Wharton out to touch. Skundrich. And eventually worked over to Tainer. Sacramento, as we mentioned, their 6th season in USL. They were founded in 2012. And their first season in USL was in 2014. Big news in Sacramento, though, was that the City Council just unanimously approved $33 million for streets and other improvements around the $252 million privately funded stadium, enhancing Sacramento's MLS bid. And they could potentially earn that as soon as this coming week, as the MLS Board of Governors meet in LA. So that is something that the city of Sacramento is all abuzz about at this point. But this is a club that first year in the league, they won the USL championship, and they've made the playoffs in every single season since, as Werner's taken down by Williamson.
It's such an exciting time for Sacramento to not only be successful in the USL, but also looking at opportunities to expand, create a great playing atmosphere in Sacramento with a new stadium and new opportunities.
That man that you're looking at right there that was taken down on that foul, Sam Werner, he's a familiar face to Foster Langsdorff and certainly some of his teammates, as there were a few guys as that ball in from Werner. Looks like Iwasa was able to get something on it, but just not quite directed on frame. Really the first good opportunity for either side here in the 11th minute, as the cross came in from Werner and nearly finished by Iwasa.
And that's one of Iwasa's strengths, is he gets on the end of those crosses, and that's something that Sacramento Republic is known for doing, sending those crosses into dangerous areas. That one sent with a little more pace, and it made it a little bit more difficult for the T2 team to handle.
Hansen down deep in that corner, clears it out, but only finds Tyler Blackwood. Blackwood able to get the ball to Iwasa, now out to Werner. Werner pressured. His loose pass falls behind McCrary, who plays back to midfield. Rain continuing to fall here at Merlo Field. Not heavy, but probably enough to be in the mind of the players.
On a day like today where it's rainy, it's a little windy, both teams might take chances that, you know, they send a ball into the box, they put some pace on it, they look for it to skip, they're sliding in to finish. You want to take some chances like that, especially on a day like today. And for Sacramento Republic on the road, why not try to pick something up? Doesn't matter if it skips in, if it deflects off somebody, just to create a chance to gain some momentum and to create some chances on the road.
What do you feel Sacramento's been doing here through just about 12, 13 minutes that's been troubling the Timbers? Sacramento's had a lot of the possession, especially in the Timbers' defensive half, or in T2's defensive half, I should say.
Sacramento's very good at keeping the ball when they need to keep possession, and they're doing a good job of doing that in the middle third. One thing that I expected to see was that they would play the ball primarily on the left side of the field, looking to play penetrating balls or look to play the ball over the top, just as they are now.
The ball skips on this pristine surface here at Merlo Field, one of the nicest fields you will see in the country. And it takes the water really well. That ball is going to certainly be slick sliding on and through this grass here this evening, though.
Looking for that ball over the top when in possession, something that Sacramento is likely to do. They love to transition. They love to get forward with numbers, get their wide backs into the attack, but when they're forced to keep possession in the middle third, they'll look to maybe force some balls, and Timbers, the T2 team may be able to pick those off and counterattack themselves.
It is interesting to kind of watch this formation that we believe is a 4-4-2 for T2 here this afternoon, this evening. It's a club that's more familiar with playing a 4-2-3-1. It's what they played with pretty much the entire season thus far, most of last year as well. Almost get a sense they're getting a bit used to it themselves. Certainly spent time on it in training this week, but training and actual game, actual match is a very different feel, especially against a club that carries the quality that Sacramento does. Shannon loses out to Hurtado, but tracks back quickly. Gomez, a very speedy right back for the Sacramento side. The 22-year-old from Trinidad and Tobago has 3 call-ups for their national team. Actually made his MLS debut against Portland Timbers coach Giovanni Savarese against New York Cosmos when he was with NYCFC back in 2016. Did Shannon Gomez.
This Timbers 2 side does such a good job of being disciplined in defense. They will force Sacramento back to use their center backs, then look to switch the point of attack, but they're patient. They don't necessarily step out and allow there to be gaps through the middle of the field.
Here comes Iwasa, defended by Wharton. He'll lay it off for Sari. Plays it behind Werner. Sierkowski able to shield out across the end line despite the efforts of Jordan McCrary.
One of the ways that T2 tries to funnel the ball wide defensively is they bring Hurtado inside, and they're looking to force Sacramento to play down the right side. They're so comfortable on the left. T2 is maybe looking to force them into situations where they have to play down the right side of the field as well.
Quarter hour in here at Merlot Field, Portland Timbers 2 and Sacramento Republic FC. Fletcher Johnson and Laura Schott here with you this evening for the matchup. Really, you would say one half chance, if you will. Eric Williamson taken down near midfield. Came in the 11th minute, a Sam Warner cross into the diving Cameron Iwasa, if you will. Wasn't able to steer it on frame. Only real opportunity we've had so far in the first quarter hour. Cross there from Hurtado, not enough on it. Wharton keeps it 25 yards from goal, chips back post. Headed down by Sierkowski to Harold Hansen. A little two-man game between Hansen and Sierkowski. Takes a deflection. Calixtro just over his head. Wharton still with it, though. Now lays it off for Sierkowski. Plays it over to Farfan. Farfan top of the box. Will shoot. And easily blocked. Didn't quite get as much on that as he would have liked. And then Jadama fouls Iwasa.
That was a great read by Jadama to get pressure to that ball on Iwasa. If he hadn't have stepped there, then Iwasa would have space in the middle of the field to maybe turn and play make, but he was very tight. Unlucky on the foul call there.
Yeah, everything, or you can almost argue that as Cameron Iwasa goes, so goes Sacramento Republic. He's got 5 goals and an assist so far here in 2019. And as mentioned, he's been a staple for this club for a long time. He has been with this club for all but one season. He spent some time with Swope Park Rangers, as right there it was Villarreal getting on the end of that one, but trying to argue for the corner kick, does not get it though. But Iwasa played in 2017 with Swope Park Rangers, as we see there the replay. Was drafted by Montreal in 2015 but wasn't signed. Already a Team of the Week appearance. He had a hat trick in week 3 against, it was Oklahoma City that he got the hat trick against a few weeks ago. So 4 goals in his last 3 games for Cameron Iwasa. Looking to add to that tally here this evening. Farfan wins the header, can't control it out to touch though. And a throw in for Sacramento.
As the game progresses, you can see Sacramento looking to try and play Iwasa centrally, but the Timbers creating that central block and trying to prevent that ball. From that ball, Sacramento is looking to play back and then get the ball wide. So they're looking to play central, draw the defenders in, and then look to exploit wide spaces.
Must say that this is a younger lineup than we saw out of T2 in the home opener a few weeks ago. There are a few more MLS Timbers that had swung in to play in that match. It almost looks at this point that T2 is a step slow. They're a step behind everything that Sacramento is trying to do. And it's something that, just reading the body language of Cameron Knowles, you can kind of tell he's wanting his guys to pick it up a little bit and maybe just lock in that focus a little bit more, because you know the quality is there, but they have to get to that level that Sacramento has certainly played at here through the first quarter hour.
Portland's already had success in a road-heavy schedule early in the season. So they're starting to develop players that are well-versed in moments of the game. And development is very big for T2. Spoke about younger players and bringing them in and plugging them into a system and developing them. And this is an opportunity for those players to show what they've learned and how they've progressed and how they can move forward.
Yep, Cameron Knowles had talked about last year development through success, and this year it was really starting to take some of those finer points that Giovanni Savarese and the MLS Timbers are instituting and making sure that the players with T2 are able to understand and experience that. So if they are called in to eventually play for the MLS Timbers, they're aware of the situation that they're walking into, what they're going to be asked to do in a particular position. And you've really started to see that take hold this year. And you've seen the resilience of this T2 side as well. I mean, in the Tulsa match to start the year, they went down a goal, came back in the second half to earn a draw out of that one. In San Antonio, they got out to the early lead, held on to it. That was something that they had trouble with last year. Against LA Galaxy too, Los Dos, they fought hard, didn't quite have enough to get over the top in that one. But then against Oklahoma City, to give up the 2 goals in the first half, come back, get 3, including the game winner and stoppage time, was pretty darn impressive for this T2 side, showing that resilience, showing that ability to overcome and keep mentally focused in some difficult moments is impressive. Speaks to obviously Cam Knowles and his coaching staff, but obviously a lot to the players and the leadership that they have on this team.
To go down 2-0 at half and come back into the second half with some adjustments and prepared to come back on the road and then get the 3-2 win, that's difficult for anybody to do, let alone a group of young players who are learning moments of the game and learning to win.
Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, April 17th for the ESPN USL Championship Game of the Week on ESPN3, featuring new expansion side Austin Bold hosting last year's Cup runner-up Phoenix Rising. It's the week's best match on the Game of the Week next Wednesday on ESPN3. 22nd minute now, still scoreless between T2 and Sacramento. Gio Calixtro able to win the ball away, finds Hurtado, corner of the box. Hurtado, not sure if he was trying to cross that or shoot it. Regardless, he'll have wanted better from himself, as that one did not trouble Josh Cohen.
Some great pressure there from T2 and from Calixtro to win that ball. As the ball goes wide, we looked across and ball goes over the goal, sails over the goal. Looking forward, he's going to want to get his body around that ball and send it back across the 6, create a chance for T2 in that opportunity.
Calixtro quickly wins it again. Now Todd Wharton with it. Sierkowski lays it off for Williamson. Shot blocked by Kanan. That looks like it had Josh Cohen worried. Sierkowski still with it, in towards Calixtro. Calixtro tries to win it with his head, but Cohen is quickly out off his line to collect. Great goalkeeping there by Josh Cohen to keep this score level.
Great job by the goalkeeper there to get a hold of the ball, but Sierkowski and Calixtro looking to connect there, and a great opportunity for T2.
First real dangerous moments there for T2 here this evening over the course of the last minute and a half, and both off of wins of the ball from Gio Calixtro, taking it off of the opponent. The young Timbers Academy player is just 18 years old, a Cornelius, Oregon product. Had the brace a couple weeks ago against Los Dos. His first pro goal came back on July 22nd of 2017 against Reno. Would certainly like to add to his season tally here this evening, though.
Calixtro, a player out of the Timbers Academy who got a brace the other week, is making some dangerous runs, making some dangerous plays, creating some opportunities for T2 early in the first half.
Marco Farfan has looked good so far. Took the ball off Iwasa a couple moments ago. Williamson with a strong challenge goes in and actually does well to win that ball. Plays it to Langsdorff. Gomez ends up playing it out to touch, or does it stay in? No, it does go out. So it's a throw in for Portland. And Langsdorff will be the man to take it. Rain is let up a little bit. And in the end, he does toss it over to Farfan. Quickly in for Williamson. Mike Hohenholz blows his whistle, though, wants Farfan to take that throw a little closer to the corner flag. Into Hurtado, back to Farfan. Farfan defended by Gomez. Able to get a cross in. It deflected off of Gomez, so there wasn't much on it, and Sacramento dealt with it easily, and now finally clear out near midfield. Jadama wins the header, though, and quickly back to Williamson. Better play from T2 as of late. Calixto can't get his head to that one, and now Gomez challenging Hurtado down on the end line and earns a goal kick.
These last few minutes, T2's created some good opportunities with pressure, winning the ball. Jadama challenges for a ball. Williamson picks it up. You can see a little bit of momentum building, not just from that cross a few moments ago, but also from backline winning balls, Williamson picking them up, and T2 attacking down the left side of the field.
Great pickoff by Williamson. Can send T2 forward. Here's Hurtado into the box, takes a shot, and Cohen dove to his left, and there just was not enough on that ball. Cohen actually dove and then almost had to wait for the ball to come to him.
It's not a bad ball from Hurtado to swing that in, and a ball swinging away from the goalkeeper, but maybe a ball that needs to be sent a little bit earlier, so there's more space between the goalkeeper and the back line for the T2 attackers to then get on the back end of.
Jadama does well to win it away from Iwasa, but having to step over Iwasa and try and win it again, he could not do so. T2 have been much more active in the attacking half, though, in the last few minutes. Hasn't resulted in a goal yet, but some good opportunities thus far as Sierakowski is fouled by McCrary.
You see T2 doubling down in situations, looking for opportunities to double on the ball and win. There's also opportunities where a T2 player is winning the first ball, and then an aggressive T2 player is coming to get a hold of the second ball and establish possession.
Here, Jadama finds Hurtado. It's a great run by Hurtado. His shot's blocked by Gomez, though, and it ends up in the first corner kick of the evening for Portland.
It's great to see Hurtado coming alive here in the last few minutes. T2 creating some great opportunities down the left flank.
It will be Wharton that comes over to take the corner kick in the 27th minute here at Merlo Field. Scoreless between Portland Timbers 2 and Sacramento Republic. Wharton's right-footed ball towards the top of the box finds Williamson. One bounce volley, takes the shot and can't steer it on frame. Just imagine that the wetness of the ball and the field played a role in that shot from Eric Williamson there.
It's a good ball from Wharton into Williamson, and then on that shot, just want to stay over it and maybe even keep it on the ground, keep it low, see if you can catch a skip, a bounce off of the surface, because it is a little bit wet, and that's difficult for a goalkeeper to read.
We mentioned the familiarity of these two sides, their 10th all-time meeting, but specifically even some of the players, Sam Werner and Drew Skundrich, who play for Sacramento, played alongside Foster Langsdorff at Stanford. All three of them won 3 national titles as the ball's at the feet of Gio Calixto, top of the box. He plays it outside to Hurtado. Hurtado tries a first-time cross and earns a penalty kick. It went off the arm of Gomez, and T2 will have a chance to take the lead just before the half-hour mark.
See who steps up. It looks like it's going to be Jadama. We've seen Langsdorff take a PK. We've seen Asprilla take a PK. So we've got a new player stepping up.
Yeah, Jadama wearing the captain's armband today. When you look at T2, the penalty kick opportunities have not gone in their favor so far this year. They're just 1 for 4. Loria's 0 for 1. He missed against Tulsa. Langsdorff 0 for 1, missed against Las Vegas Lights. Darwin Asprilla, the only player to make one. He made it against Las Vegas Lights on the 23rd of March. Zambrano missed last week against OKC. So Mo Jadama will be the man to take this one against Josh Cohen. Jadama, the 25-year-old from the Gambia, steps, strikes, and scores. T2 has the lead in the 29th minute.
Well taken PK by Jadama. He hesitates, he steps, he places it right in the back corner of the net to the keeper's left.
As we look at Jadama, you mentioned it, played it well. Keeper guessed wrong.
Goalkeeper stepping, trying to get him to bite. He doesn't, very confident, places it in the back of the net.
It all came off of a cross that came in from Brian Hurtado. That hit the arm of Shannon Gomez, according to Mike Hohenholz. Let's take another look.
Comes in, looks to play that same cross he's been looking for really the majority of the first half. And at this level, you can't just, you know, close a ball and leave an arm out. It will get called. It's an intentional handball.
So T2, despite the strong play of Sacramento for the first 15 minutes, maybe you'd say a deserved goal for the way that Portland's played in the last 5 to 7 minutes, really playing the majority of that time in the attacking third.
Yeah, there's really been a shift here in the second 15 of the first half.
Yeah, what's changed? What do you see that's changed for T2 specifically, or for Sacramento on the other end?
Really, T2 is forced those balls into wide areas. Hurtado's picking up balls and getting down the left flank, and that's been very dynamic for T2. In addition, T2 winning those first balls and picking up the second ball in midfield, that's been a catalyst for the attack.
Great work by Calixtro to get that ball back to Farfan. Had 2 men around him and still was able to use the outside of that right boot to get it to Farfan. His cross is blocked by Gomez and out for the second corner kick of the night for Portland.
Now a similar run from Farfan as Hurtado's been doing, getting down that left flank and coming toward the box. Tries to send the cross in, it's blocked and picks up a corner.
It's where you see that wind playing a factor on any floated balls into the box. We'll see what Todd Wharton dials up this time. We'll play it short to Farfan. Farfan first time cross in towards the penalty spot. Dizpay gets ahead to it, but it's cleared away momentarily. Williamson strikes first time with a right boot. It's blocked, but will fall out to Wharton, who will let it roll out for a throw.
Williamson does a much better job that time of staying over the ball and keeping the ball low, hard, and I'm not sure it was on frame, but at least when it's on the ground, you get a chance for a second ball rather than a ball that goes over the goal.
Been a relatively quiet last 20 minutes or so for Mo Jadama and Dizpay, the center back partnership for T2 and Cameron Knowles here this evening. Dizpay here dribbles forward. Will look over the top for Hansen, who is making the run. It cleared away, but only as far as Williamson. Now to Sierakowski. Will play back to Williamson. Cross comes in. Hurtado, clear header, goes over him, straight to Langsdorff. Langsdorff back to Hurtado. Oh, and he put his hands on his face. He knew he should have done better with that one. Just didn't quite get as much on it as he would have liked, and easily rolls into the arms of Josh Cohen.
As an attacker, you want an opportunity like that back, and the interplay between the Timbers, where the interchange, I should say, where Langsdorff will come by and Hurtado will come underneath. It was great ball by Langsdorff to come underneath and then play that ball back into Hurtado. It just didn't quite get enough on it that time.
Quickly the other direction for Sacramento. Sam Warner's left-footed cross in for Blackwood. Jadama is there in the right place at the right time to get his legs on it, and therefore Jake Leaker able to pick that one up. Hurtado's shot may have been blocked there in the box. Could not tell if Kanan got something on it or not. Looks like he may have, and that could have been the reason that Hurtado had his face in his hands. Yeah, it looks like T2 just took a little bit to wake up. But since they have, they've been dynamic here in the last 15 minutes or so. As the rain coming down, the hardest it has so far here this evening. Had some torrential rains here in Portland over the last couple weeks, as Hansen does well to use his body, keep Warner away from that ball. And Portland's able to clear only about 40 yards away, though, where it's picked up by Ray Sari. Sari's been quiet after the first 15 minutes. The Kansas City, Missouri native has an amazing story we'll tell you about here momentarily, as Hansen once again wins out against Werner. T2 still not able to quite clear the pressure, though, as Blackwood controls. Yeah, Ray Sari was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 15. Went through months of chemotherapy. Battled through it all, and here he is today. 10 years, almost 10 years later. His birthday is coming up this week. He'll celebrate his 24th birthday on Friday, and after you experience something like that as a youngster, makes you appreciate those birthdays that much more. As again, nifty work from Calixtro in the center of the park to send T2 forward. Outside of the boot from Sierkowski finds Farfan. Farfan cross towards the back post, well over the head of everyone, and that will roll across the touchline.
It's another good opportunity for T2 down the left flank with Farfan getting forward and looking for that crossing opportunity. Seems that T2 is creating better opportunities as they keep the ball lower to the ground and send it in with a little more velocity rather than the lofted ball to the back post that's overshooting.
Fans, follow Portland Timbers 2 and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at espnplus.com. 1-0 in favor of Portland thanks to a 29th minute Mo Jadama penalty kick goal after Brian Hurtado's cross went off the arm of Shannon Gomez. Nearly an opportunity for T2 in on goal there as Foster Langsdorff pressured the defense of Sacramento Republic, and a foul is called here on the near side. Mike Hohenholz was not going to call that foul, and it ended up having to be Jeffrey Skinker who raised his flag saying, yes, that was indeed a foul. As we get another look.
A little bit of a miscommunication between T2 players and Farfan and Wharton there, but there was also a foul, and it was picked up by the lensman.
So Jadama with a restart just inside T2's own half. Looking out for Hansen. Header won by McCrary, but out to touch. 37th minute. T2 last year, one of the interesting stats, Laura, that we talked about before we came on air tonight was the fact that this was a T2 side that when they outshot their opponents last year, they had a losing record. But when they were outshot by their opponents, they had a winning record. So they were a team that, you know, you can look at it a multitude of different ways, but one of the ways you could say is they liked that underdog role. They relished when maybe teams were taking it to them a little bit, playing on the counter and really taking advantage of those opportunities. But this year, you know, it's a different team, and this team enjoys playing on the front foot a little bit more and controlling a little bit more of the action. They didn't necessarily do so in the first 15 minutes tonight, but in the second 15 minutes they did, and they got a goal because of it.
Yes, it is a statistic that may speak a little bit to relishing that underdog role. But I'm sure the coaching staff will want them to both relish the underdog role and also take advantage of opportunities when they're creating so many shots in the attack to finish them and to get the win, rather than just realizing, hey, we're playing well, we're doing great things, and not settling for that, realizing the moment and finishing the opportunity and getting the win.
Believe it or not, we look at the statistics this year, and granted it's very early in the year, but T2 are 0-0-1 when out shooting their opponent. When they're outshot by their opponent, 3-1-0. So still enjoying and relishing that role in some senses, but that we do need to keep in mind that T2 has played 4 of their 5 matches on the road so far this year, so some of that naturally happens when you're playing on another team's home field.
On the plus side, it gives you some confidence to know that you can win games without outshooting your opponent. And T2 has that confidence as well.
Seen a lot more players slipping in the last 5 minutes. Dizpay went down a moment ago. Sierkowski went down just a second ago. As the rain continues to fall, you'd have to imagine that will become even more of a factor as this turf takes even more water on, as Sacramento earned the corner kick, their second of the night. Also worth noting that T2 out shooting Sacramento 8-5 so far here in the first half of this one. Ball in towards the penalty spot over the head of pretty much everyone. It looks like Skundrich was there to try and send a ball back across Leaker's net, but could not do so, and it ends up in a goal kick.
Skundrich making a great effort there to send the ball back across the goal, but just loses his footing and doesn't quite get enough on the ball to send it back across the 6.
into the final 5-6 minutes of the first half. Laura, what do you want to see out of T2 to make sure that they maintain this lead going into the break? Don't do anything silly to give up a goal.
They need to continue doing what they've done a good job of this half. Staying compact in that middle third, forcing the ball wide, keeping the ball in the center backs and making them play around T2 rather than playing through and finding Iwasa and creating opportunities in gaps in midfield. As a coach, you want to go into halftime with that lead. You don't want to give up anything silly in a big last 5 minutes of a half.
Hansen gives up the ball there, but T2 does well, specifically Marco Farfan, to disrupt Iwasa. Effect on a goal in every match that he's played in for Sacramento this year. Spins Hansen around a couple times and puts a hard shot off the hands of Jake Leaker, out for another corner kick.
Werner with a great opportunity there, does a great job to keep his footing and tries to get Hansen on his back foot there, moving left, right. Hansen has to shift his momentum, and he gets a great shot off and gets the corner out of the opportunity.
Come in from a right foot, does not get past the first man, Foster Langsdorff. Sends it straight back out to touch. Into Iwasa. Now back for McCrary. We'll send it in again. Leaker with a punch. Had time to collect if he wanted to, but instead uses the punch and releases pressure, but only momentarily.
In those situations, keepers will sometimes come out and punch, especially in this weather, just in case there's a slip up or maybe it's a little bit wet. The ball's obviously wet, and the field now is a bit wet as you see players slipping. So he's probably just being cautious and making sure he clears the ball out of danger.
This ball goes all the way to Iwasa at the back post, and I don't think he thought it was going to get all the way through to him. He looked surprised and swung that right leg a little late and couldn't steer it on frame.
I was a bit surprised as this ball goes across. It passes 1, 2, 3 people and before it gets to him, and he probably anticipated that it might be cleared. But as a finisher, also you'd expect Iwasa to be ready, because he often capitalizes on those opportunities.
Both Langsdorff and McCrary rise for the header, and McCrary comes down worse for the wear, and the foul called on T2. Final 3 minutes, really haven't had much of a stoppage other than the penalty kick in the first half, so wouldn't expect to see more than maybe a minute of stoppage time here at the end of the first half. We'll wait for the fourth official, Justin St. Pierre, to give us the indication here in about 2.5 minutes from now.
No, we certainly wouldn't expect to see much stoppage time here in the first half. But with 3, maybe 4 minutes remaining with stoppage time, it's really important for T2 to keep compact, keep focused, and don't give up anything silly in the final minutes of the first half.
Over to Gomez, defended by Farfan. Gomez probably has Farfan for speed, tries to work around it, but Farfan does well to not only win that ball, but then knock it off of Gomez, out for a T2 throw. Gomez can't believe it. As we take another look.
I actually have to see the replay on who this went out of, and that's debatable.
May have touched off that right boot of Gomez. He certainly didn't think so, though.
Either way, T2 will certainly take it.
No doubt about it. Ability to burn a little bit more time, especially given that Gomez wanted to come over and have a conversation with Mike Hohenholz. So now inside 1.5 minutes remaining in the first 45, plus stoppage time at the discretion of Mike Hohenholz. Big time moments here for T2 as Blackwood on it, dribbling central, still with it, plays to McCrary. McCrary back up from that crunching challenge with Langsdorff. And Iwasa's pass deflects off of Dizpay. Wharton now fouled by Iwasa. And this will burn a few more seconds for T2 here before the half.
Well done there in the waning moments of the first half there, T2 to keep pressure on Iwasa and force him backward, and then earning this free kick. really T2 now, maybe they can kill the last minute or two of the half and go into the locker room up a goal.
30 seconds plus stoppage time remaining as Leaker sends this one deep down the field. McCrary's elbow rises, and he's called for the foul.
On the flip side, if you're Sacramento, you don't want to be giving up fouls near the box in the last minute or two of the first half. This is a good opportunity for T2.
And the man coming over to take it will be Eric Williamson. Williamson currently tied for first in USL with 5 assists so far this season. Had 2 assists on March 30th against Los Dos and an assist last week against Oklahoma City as well. Will it be Williamson or Wharton? We're into stoppage time. The whistle blows. And Williamson will strike it. Header won by Sierakowski, wide open, but could not turn it in the direction of the net. And we don't see any stoppage time here at the end of the first half. T2 will go to the break on top 1-0 thanks to a Mojadama penalty kick goal in the 29th minute. We'll come back in a little bit, take a look at the first half stats and highlights, and get the thoughts of Laura Schott on what we saw through the first 45 minutes. Portland Timbers 2-1, Sacramento Republic FC 0 here at the break at Merlot Field.
And Jameson's going to get to the ball off the giveaway, and Bradford Jameson's got the first goal, and San Antonio FC is on the board.
On his way. Here's Ryan Sierakowski in the penalty area. Sierakowski!
Oh! Weaving it forward. Oh, look at a piece of that to Rob Dos Santos.
Plata. He'll take a shot, and a goal! Joao Plata!
Leo's ball, nice curl, this time headed for the goal!
This afternoon's match, a good ball into Lewis, what a strike! Zico Lewis.
Nice 1-2 there.
Here comes that scissors kick, and Isaac was alive to it.
Long range shot, curling into the back of the net!
And it's going to be Lewis, he just takes the strike. And Brandon Miller manages to get just a hair on it.
Austin Cole strikes first. Good ball in, John He's going to give it a crack, deflected away by Iverson. Huntley lets it fly in the wide, punches it away. And it is a goal. Fleming's in for JJ.
Here's Nicoletto. Sends over, beautiful curler! Marco Micheletto. To the right side of the box. Robinson comes back, looking for some help. Deflected there, chance in front of goal, stopped by Kirk.
Full head of steam. Perusa trying to chip the goalie, and that's exactly what happened.
Dennis. And that one off the crossbar, and Fitzgerald getting a piece of that.
Here's an opportunity. Zion buries it for the Red Wolves.
Advantage for the rest of this game. Endo going right at it, punched out by Herrera. Outstanding effort.
Cox runs over. Second chance, Vega there, back of the net. Near post, headed on into the back of the net. Triumph convert on the set piece. They're up 2-1.
halftime here at Merlo Field. Portland Timbers 2 on top 1-0 thanks to a Mo Jadama penalty kick goal in the 29th minute. And we welcome you back into the broadcast booth once again. Laura Schott, Fletcher Johnson here with you. Laura, 45 minutes in the books. It was first 15 minutes dominated by Sacramento, but then Portland really grew into the match as things went along.
Yeah, there was really a point 15 minutes in where the game shifted a little bit. In the first 15 minutes, Sacramento was fairly dominant down that left flank with McCrary getting in. Werner was effective. Owasso was receiving some balls up in the attacking third. And then about 15 minutes in, T2 made a couple of adjustments, and Williamson changed his positioning a little bit. Calixto started to come underneath Langsdorff and receive some balls there. And then with flank play with Farfan and Hurtado getting down that left flank and starting to send crosses in, the momentum shifted a little bit in the Timber 2 favor.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the first half highlights and start things off with, kind of as we mentioned, the hot start for Sacramento in the 18th minute, nearly finding the back of the net.
Good opportunity for Sacramento. They send the ball into the box, but well defended, and T2 gets the ball back with a goal kick.
22nd minute, Eric Williamson was the man to nearly open the scoring in this one for T2.
It's a great little drop ball, and he does a good job to bend that ball on frame, but blocked by Sacramento.
So as Portland continued to grow into the match, we move 6 minutes later. You see Calixto there, plays it out to Hurtado and earns a penalty kick.
Yeah, one of those moments where Calixto receives the ball and he plays it out wide. T2 doing such a good job playing the ball back inside from that left flank, but handball, and Jadama on the PK finishes left of the goalkeeper.
Yep, Portland now 2 for 5 on penalty kicks. Hasn't been their favorite thing so far this year, but Mo Jadama now 1 for 1 on the season. About 12 minutes later, 41st minute, Sam Werner nearly opened the scoring for Sacramento.
Werner's so quick on the dribble here, shifting left and right, gets a great shot off, but Leaker with a good save. Comes down this flank, tries to turn Hansen, gets to the outside, gets the shot off, but Leaker there on the near post.
And that's where we stand, 1-0 here at the break. Let's go ahead and look at the first half stats in this one. And as we look at some of the numbers, as you might imagine, kind of a back and forth affair with the way the first half played out. 10-7 shots in favor of T2 at this point. Corner kicks, 3 for Sacramento, 2 for T2. Fouls relatively even as well. So these two sides have played an even match to this point. Quick look at the storylines for T2 this season. You certainly have to look at a couple different things. They're off to their best start in club history, 3-1-1, and also playing 5 of their next 7 at home, an opportunity to really carry a ton of momentum into the early part of the summer months here in 2019. What an opportunity for Cameron Knowles' side to really get things trending in an even more so positive direction here as the second season as manager of this club. All right, we are seeing a substitution here before we kick off the second half. We will see Drew Skundrich come off at 45 minutes, and the former Portland Timbers 2 player Viljan Bijev come on in his place. The 26-year-old from Sofia, Bulgaria, will come on into this match and play out on the right side. So potentially a little bit of a formation change here for Sacramento. We'll have to see how things play out as we are underway in the second half. Werner able to beat out Harold Hansen to this ball, floats it towards the back post, and a little too far out in front of Bijev and out to touch.
And here we see right out the gate, you see Sacramento getting down the left flank again. Now the cross is coming in with a little more velocity, a little bit lower. They're looking to play the players in the central channel.
So as you might imagine, down a goal, Sacramento coming out motivated to try and find a way back into this match. Remember the success that T2 has had under Cameron Knowles. I know that there was discussion of disappointment that they didn't play a little bit better at home last year. They're kind of a 500 team here in Portland. They really want to improve upon that this year, and if they do, considering the success that they had last season, you have to imagine that they would be finding themselves top 2 or 3 in the Western Conference if they can continue the way that they played on the road. The home opener, they gave up an early goal in the second half to Las Vegas Lights that let them back into the match, but then the Dairon Asprilla bicycle kick really changed things and gave Portland the easy walk-away win against their foes from Nevada. Harold Hansen forced to use his pace to get to a ball in front of Werner, and does so. And plays it out to McCrary. Ball chipped over the top for Iwasa. Settles with his chest, plays through for Blackwood, who wasn't ready for it. And now Farfan dribbles out.
See Iwasa in the first 2 minutes of this half, imposing himself on this game, coming into the second half motivated. He turns there and he might have gotten the shot off. And in situations like this where it's raining, sometimes that ball skips and then he decides to check down to a runner coming through.
Yeah, you thought Iwasa may have shot in that moment, decided to play the pass instead. And Farfan with the good work to track back and cut it out. 48th minute now. Fletcher Johnson, Laura Schott here with you. Happy to have you with us on this Saturday night. A matchup of two teams that are both 3-1-1 so far here at the start of 2019. Timbers 2 playing just their second home match of the season. A great opportunity to hear some of the conversations between coach and player on the sideline as to what they want to be done. Important touch there from Wharton in front of Blackwood to get the ball back to Jadama. So let's talk a little bit more about what you briefly addressed at halftime, Laura. What really changed for Portland as the first half went along. We mentioned in the pregame that the 4-4-2 setup was something not necessarily that familiar to this T2 side, but as the half went along, how did they adjust so that they were making sure they were creating more opportunities going forward?
T2 in the first 5 games of the season have really played a stacked front line with Langsdorff when available for T2 playing the point. And in the second half, about halfway through when we saw the momentum shift, Calixto started to come underneath Langsdorff and try to scout out the ball. He started to find the ball more, and that started to change things for T2. In addition, T2 started to play the ball down the left flank. And as they got more opportunity down that left flank, started setting crosses in, and that's when they earned that penalty kick.
Not only that, but continue to keep the pressure up for the next 10 or 15 minutes and really close out the half outside of the Werner chance in the 41st minute without giving up too much of danger. Although this could be a dangerous moment for Sacramento here. Iwasa, not sure if he just didn't curl that one enough trying to find Blackwood central, but easily collected by Leaker. Here comes Werner dribbling it forward. Defended by Hansen. Werner goes to that favored left foot. Tries the cross, blocked away by Hansen and out for a corner kick.
Similar moment to one of Sacramento's good opportunities in the first half. Werner tries to take him to the left, take Hansen to the left, and earns another corner kick.
Werner, of course, played 4 years of college at Stanford. Harold Hansen, meanwhile, is 19 years old. So a bit of a veteran, so to speak, against a youngster, although both young in their professional careers. As that headed away by Sierkowski. Bright start from Sacramento, though, here to start the second half, as Williamson heads on out to touch.
Collectively, T2's done a good job of handling crosses and corners. You see that ball played into space out wide where it can't be returned into the center of the field on a cross. Saw a great header clearance from Langsdorff off a corner in the first half, and Sierkowski doing the same thing. Shows a little bit of intelligence and almost veteran plays by T2 there.
Yeah, you'd almost argue that with Bijev coming in for Sacramento, they're pushing another number up to that top line. Bijev playing out on the far right. Blackwood's tucked in a little bit more with Iwasa, and still have Werner out on that left wing. As this ball and shot nowhere near the net of Leaker. Player down for Sacramento. I believe it was Langsdorff who was in there going up for that ball. So we have a chance to take another look. Sure, it was maybe the back of Langsdorff's head that ran into the front of the Sacramento player's head.
Just looks like a little bit of incidental contact.
That's Mitchell Tainer, the man that's down. Trainer has been called out for the first time tonight. That's Ong Ai, the trainer for Sacramento Republic, coming out to make sure Mitchell Tainer is okay. The 6'2", 24-year-old from Willimantic, Connecticut. In his second season with Sacramento after 47 appearances the past 2 years with Toronto FC.
A situation on the road where you start a second half and you're creating opportunities and you're putting some pressure on the opponent. You don't necessarily want to have an injury or any stoppage in play. You see some of the T2 Timbers getting together, talking about organizing, having conversations about, you know, 7 minutes that have gone by so far, and it gives them an opportunity to regroup and organize a bit while the ball isn't in play.
Yeah, this honestly, you might argue, worse for Sacramento with the way that they came out energized to start the second half. Have that kind of zapped out, the body get cold again. Temperature still hanging around 50 degrees, but with a 12, 15 mile per hour wind drops that temperature a few degrees. And it doesn't sound like much, certainly does make a difference, especially when you're wet. Back to action. And Mitchell Tainer back out on the field. He and Langsdorff going towards this ball, and Langsdorff not quite going to be able to track it down before it rolls across the end line. We mentioned T2 has not yet kept a clean sheet this year. They would like to erase that here today. A reason for the success so far this season is that they're third in the league coming into the weekend in goals scored with 12, and now 13 after Mo Jadama's penalty kick. Believe it or not, that number should be 16 had they converted all their chances from the spot. But regardless, if Cam Knowles walks away from today's match and T2's on 13 points at a record of 4-1-1, having played only 2 matches at home, better believe he'll take that every time. Important touch there by Diz Pay to at least release the pressure momentarily, but here comes Iwasa, defended by both Wharton and Diz Pay. Wharton goes down, gets a foot to it, and clears it away. Rain coming down really hard now. You can hear it.
It's a great little set back there from Langsdorff to Sierkowski, and Sierkowski obviously frustrated with his touch there, but those two have combined so well and play so well together. We'll see more from them, I'm sure, as the second half continues.
McCrary with the throw-in. Williamson able to get there in front of Sari. Looked like it could have been a dangerous challenge, but both players get up unharmed. And now Jadama will head back to Leaker, and important in front of Tyler Blackwood there. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday, April 17th at 5:30 p.m. for the ESPN USL Championship Game of the Week on ESPN3, featuring new expansion side Austin Bold hosting last year's Cup runner-up Phoenix Rising. It's the week's best match on the Game of the Week next Wednesday at 5:30 on ESPN3. Bijev, his first real action, sends a ball forward that's cut out by Diz Pay. Have to imagine for T2 here, Laura, it's just making sure you keep everything outside of your own box with the way the rain's coming down, the wind's having an effect. This is that type of game where things can get sloppy and you don't want to give up a cheap one in front of your net with the way the rain's coming down. Williamson does well to win it in front of Iwasa. Williamson, one of those players, noticed he was wearing bright orange boots in the first half. He's changed shoes, probably to potentially longer cleats to deal with this weather.
And we understand why, seeing the rain come down now, shortly after the Sacramento Republic player went out just to get checked by the trainer, this rain really picked up, and it's almost coming down at a 45-degree angle against Sacramento Republic.
Bijev does well to work it around Farfan a couple times. Now Jadama comes over to help out, and he's not going to win that one. And they say Bijev with the dive, and he will receive a yellow card for that. Not happy about it. Jadama was being physical with him. Let's go ahead and take a look. What do you think, Laura?
He makes an aggressive move to goal here, and coming down, he's turned back by Jadama, and there's a little bit of contact, but really he makes a meal out of it, and the referee sees it that way, gives him the card.
First caution of the evening goes to Viljan Bijev, the second half substitute, in the 58th minute. Interesting to see what role this weather plays if it continues to rain like this over the course of the next half hour.
Sometimes things seem small, but then they've changed games drastically. You see that when that Sac Republic player went out, and then the rain starts, and then Sacramento, that player goes down, tries to draw a foul, gets a card. Things have shifted quite dramatically after the first 10 minutes of the second half, and now the T2 squad is getting some more opportunities on the ball a little bit more, and that energy Sacramento brought to the second half and the onset has shifted a little bit.
T2 has certainly already played in some different types of weather conditions so far this year. Beautiful down in Los Angeles, warm in the center of the country, and now pouring rain, as you might expect in spring here in the Pacific Northwest.
I think we all expect it, but we also look forward to it not lasting too much longer.
It's been a rough couple weeks here in the Rose City in terms of rain that we've seen. Some flooding down to our south in the Willamette Valley. It's affected some folks. As Williamson to taken off in by Iwasa. Iwasa's playing more of a withdrawn role, not playing up top now. Blackwood's taken over that role. So really Iwasa's just kind of playing directly underneath Blackwood. Bijev out on the right, and then Werner out on the left.
As we saw in the first half, the beginning of the first half, when Sacramento had quite a bit of run of play, Iwasa was coming off of the back line, checking down and trying to get himself on the ball in that central channel. And now, coming into the second half, it looks like there may have been some direction at halftime, or maybe he made a veteran decision himself to be on the ball more and check down and look for those balls in the central part of the field.
You see conditions are just tough. I mean, Hurtado there trying to turn it around. Bijev just slips and falls down. The ball goes out off of him to touch. Certainly has a feel of one of those matches where just send any kind of ball in front of net and there's few bodies there, anything can happen.
This is one of those matches, one of those times where the weather does play a factor. It'll change how you may want to send a ball into a box. It'll change how a keeper needs to stay behind a ball. You see Hansen there just loses his footing as the field gets a little bit more saturated. It's a little more wet. You can see the water pop up as the ball moves. So you have to change things a little bit to adjust to the game conditions.
Harold Hansen trying to show a little sportsmanship. McCrary not happy about it. Nearly swings and hits him in the head with an open hand. That's a little bit maybe of that old Portland Timbers 2, Seattle Sounders 2 rivalry, as that's where McCrary was prior, as that hard hit ball from Werner just too far out in front of Blackwood could have been a dangerous moment there for Sacramento.
Werner sending that ball across with his left foot across the 6. Those opportunities are very dangerous for either team at this point. So he sends the ball across the 6, and there's a runner in the box. At that point, that runner's just got to get down, try to get any part of his body on that ball to redirect it toward goal.
Just over an hour in here at Merlo Field. Fletcher Johnson and Laura Schott with you here this evening. Pleasure to have you along as T2 up 1-0 thanks to a first-half penalty kick goal from Mojadama. Dizpay shouldered down by Iwasa, no foul called. Iwasa now floats it back post. Bijev there, but Farfan with an important header in front of him, able to knock it out, and Wharton picks it up before it crosses the sideline. Now back to Farfan. Farfan's played well tonight, been in the right spot a lot of times to create good opportunities, as Langsdorff is fouled by Kanan. Shoulder to shoulder there.
Shoulder to shoulder, but very strong. Probably could have gone either way as a no call or a call, but well played out of pressure there. Well played out of the dangerous area in front of goal there by Farfan.
We'll see our first T2 sub of the night here momentarily, as Bijev has just been sent off. A yellow card for Villian Bijev. Simon Elliott is incensed at the fourth official, Justin St. Pierre. We'll have to take another look at this one, but Bijev came on at the start of the second half and has picked up 2 yellow cards in 17 minutes and is already gone for the night.
Well, that's a unique stat you don't necessarily want your name next to.
Especially for a player like Bijev, who's in his return to Portland. I believe it was Eric Williamson that he took out. As they continue to argue, let's take another look.
Starts to go on the dribble and comes in from the side. It looks like he gets at least part of the ball, but as he goes by, he reaches his foot in, gets part of the ball. You can see the ball change direction, and Sacramento thinks they're off into a counterattack, and referee calls a foul, brings the card. Already is sitting on one, has to pull the red.
Is it the right call?
That's a tough one for me in that situation. As looking at it from a referee's perspective, if I had somebody on a yellow who came in 17 minutes in and came in, not a lot of contact, got the ball, hard to pull out a yellow there.
Yeah.
But that's definitely going to change the game for Sacramento and for T2. We'll see how both coaches make adjustments. Sacramento's going to go a man down, and T2 up a goal. But this game's gotten very physical. It's very wet. Field's getting more and more saturated. There's a lot of different little quirks to this game now moving forward that the coaches are going to have to adjust to.
So talk me through, we're going to take another look here. Talk me through what you see on this, because it seems like he does get the ball. What do you think the referee's looking at in this moment?
Well, as an attacker, you take this touch inside, and really it might be better to keep it on your right foot, but he comes in, Sacramento Republic, they come in with their left, and when you come in on the side or you come in a little bit behind, it leaves it to the referee's discretion, and when that happens, you never quite know what's going to happen. So any time you bring that into play, the referee may call it, they may not, they might see it as a yellow, and if you're sitting on a yellow, it's really, the onus is on you to be a little bit more conservative and not go into those plays that may be called.
It looks like the trail leg came through as well. His right leg came through and almost scissored Williamson's legs. I mean, you look at Williamson walking, it looks like he twisted his ankle on the play. Could that potentially be what Mike Hohenholz saw, as well as that right leg, that leg that was behind, kind of continue to come through and clear out Williamson?
Well, if that's what he saw and that's what he felt, that would certainly be a play that would pull the second yellow and potentially, earn somebody a red card.
So momentarily, Eric Williamson is off. A little more housekeeping. Harold Hansen has come off in favor of Nathan Smith, the 24-year-old Clovis, California native, in his second season with T2, making his 4th appearance of the season. So a like-for-like substitution there, but T2 will play a man down until they determine if Eric Williamson will be able to come back on the field. He's over on the far side, right at the midfield stripe. So this match has dramatically changed with the red card to Bijev in the 63rd minute.
Williamson standing on the side with his hand up. He's ready to come in, and he enters the game.
Certainly looks like he's still carrying a little bit of a limp. Pushed into action right there, right off the bat, and goes in hard on the challenge, gets the ball. Looks to be okay. We'll keep an eye on him for the next 5 minutes or so to see how he reacts and how that ankle reacts after the challenge from Bijev. who was sent off with a second yellow card just 17 minutes into his appearance here this evening. Smith tries to float a ball in central for Calixtro, doesn't get over Tainer. And now this one will be hit long, and Leaker just clears out to touch.
It's a good read by Leaker. You always want to clear those balls high, far, and wide and not leave them in your defensive third, but a great read, and he clears the ball out of danger.
Still 1-0 in favor of Portland. Werner, central. Great tackle by Dizpay to clear out that ball. Here comes Hurtado the other direction. No numbers for Portland. Hurtado continues to dribble it forward. Gomez beats him for pace though, but goes down. Now here's Hurtado, and now T2 do have some numbers. Hurtado will shoot, and just wide. Cohen was worried, diving to his left, but Hurtado couldn't put it on frame.
What a great move by Hurtado to take that ball inside and create that opportunity for T2. Puts pressure on the defender, and as we've been talking about, field's a little wet, defender slips down, Hurtado puts this ball in his left and rips one across the goal. From our angle, I thought maybe even that one was going in.
Another substitution for Sacramento, and it will be Jordan McCrary coming off in favor of Harris Hansopoulos, 6'4" defender from Karditsa, Greece. So we'll have to see. Looks like Hansopoulos will play one of those center back spots. And they go, looks like they'll go to 3 in the back potentially, with Hansopoulos, Kanan, and Tainter. Maybe push Gomez a little more forward here, as Cohen forced into a quick clearance under the pressure of Foster Langsdorff, and T2 recollect near midfield.
Smith coming in on the substitution there, playing out here on the right. It's nice to get him a few touches, get him used to the field now that it's rained a little bit more, the conditions have changed, and just get him some simple touches to connect with the team on his entry here.
Wharton taken down from behind by Blackwood, earns a foul. About 35 yards from goal.
It's an easy call. He takes an aggressive touch. His right foot heads into the center of the field, and he's just taken down from behind. Those are very easy calls for the official.
Blackwood signed his first pro contract with Queens Park Rangers back at the age of 23. He's now 28 years old. Was with Swope Park last season. Floated towards the back post. Header won by Jadama, but he can't get it down. 71st minute.
Horton just plays the ball across to Jadama. Jadama often being the target on those crosses and on those free kicks. He's so good in the air.
Looks like the third and final substitution for Sacramento will be coming here any minute, as Simon Elliott's coaching staff, Benjamin Seymour, having a conversation as that ball in towards Blackwood pops straight up into the air, and Leaker off his line to collect.
Leaker doing a nice job to come off his line there and take that ball out of the air, take it out of danger, and restart the attack.
Back to Dispe. Rain continuing to come down heavy and come down sideways. T2 hasn't kept a clean sheet all year, would like to do it here today. This ball over the top for Werner, going to skip too heavy and out across the end line. Looks like the substitute not quite coming yet for Sacramento. But they changed things up after halftime. Bringing on Bijev, who was sent off in the 63rd minute after a second yellow. Hansopoulos coming on in place of McCrary. Go to a 3-back system. As that cross from Hurtado behind Langsdorff, too far in front of Sierakowski. It's one where you'd like to see Hurtado pick his head up, look where he's hitting that ball, because Sierakowski was in acres of space, could have had an opportunity inside the 18-yard box for a wide open shot.
And Sierkowski was so open in that opportunity that Hurtado had just placed a ball somewhere in the vicinity rather than sending that cross more into the space. Could have gotten a good opportunity out of it.
T2 happy to sustain a little bit of possession here. They'll play it back to Leaker. Sacramento trying to push high to win it back. These are the moments where we've really seen T2 grow since last season, Laura. Their ability to feel comfortable hanging on to the ball, not just punting it forward and giving up possession, but really giving themselves an opportunity to chew up some clock and do some nice things to pressure the opponent into making mistakes. Nice ball forward for Iwasa, easily won by Jadama. As we approach the final quarter hour. T2 readying another substitution, their second of the night. We'll see it here at the next dead ball. Smith stays up in front of Werner, send the cross in towards the back post. Hurtado able to shield Gomez away from it, but won't be able to catch back up to it. Who's up, who's down, where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. Substitution coming for T2. Night is done for Brian Hurtado after 75 minutes. It'll be Christian Ojeda coming on. Made his T2 debut a couple matches ago against Los Dos. This is just his second appearance. Before we talk about Ojeda, your thoughts on Brian Hurtado's performance tonight, Laura?
Hurtado's made a huge impact on this game. He's gotten down that left flank so many times and driven at the Sacramento back line, creating opportunities, creating crossing opportunities and scoring opportunities for his teammates. So he's had a great showing this evening.
Hurtado, of course, one of the new additions to this T2 side this season. He's on loan from Mineros de Guiana in Venezuela. Has played 10 times for the Venezuela U20 national team. 58 appearances, 49 starts for Mineros in the last 2 seasons. Scored his first goal last week against OKC in that 3-2 comeback victory on the road. Cristiano Ojeda, meanwhile, mentioned his second appearance. Has a U20 appearance for Argentina in the men's national team. Spain and Italy in 2018. As heavy foul there. It was Ojeda that went down, I believe. Did not win the header. Sacramento not happy with that call. I think they're going to have some issues with Mike Holnholz after this match.
Certainly this has been an aggressive half, especially for Sacramento. Road games like this where you're down 1-0, you start to take chances, you start to get aggressive, you want to come back and tie it up.
Great ball from Smith to find Calixtro, center of the park. Calixtro now to Langsdorff, corner of the box. Langsdorff, first time cross, blocked by Tainer, back to Langsdorff, back in once again, and then cleared away by Tainer. Only as far as Williamson, top of the box. Settles it, hits it, off of Harris Hansopoulos, and back to Farfan. And Ojeda loses out and fouls Gomez.
In those situations, you've got a player back to goal. He's about 12 yards from the end line. You don't want to let somebody out on a foul there. You just want to keep them facing their own end line and be patient and make them play out of it. Make them make a play to turn and face up. Get a little impatient there, start to foul, then you let them out. Now they get a free kick with lots of space.
T2 have quickly won it back. Out into space for Smith. It's been a dream start for T2 thus far through this 5 3/4 matches of the season. Really like to finish this off with a clean sheet and 3 points. A lot of work left to do against a strong Sacramento attack. Done very well to keep Cameron Iwasa quiet to this point. As Williamson dribbles around Hansopoulos, should receive a card here and does. Boy, you see the speed there of Williamson working his way around the big, tall 6'4" defender.
Very intelligent touch by Williamson to get around the defender and cut him off. See the entry pass, he's on the run, he takes that touch, cuts back into the left to cut the defender off and give him no chance of recovering. Defender reads that and just has to pull his jersey. Really his only opportunity there to stop the attack.
So Hansopoulos goes in the book just a few minutes after he comes on the field. The only yellow cards tonight have been issued to subs for Sacramento. 3 of them, 2 of them to Villian Bijev, 1 to Hansopoulos. And now Wharton and Williamson once again stand over this free kick. Somewhat direct inside the frame of goal. Williamson will hit it, shoot it, and just wide once again. Boy, that was a brilliant strike by Williamson. Probably not more than a foot or 2 outside of Josh Cohen's right post. Hit it well. Cohen was worried, diving hard to his right.
Another great chance off of a free kick. Williamson just takes it just outside the post. Interesting setup for T2 there, and on that opportunity, Sajidama lined himself up with the wall, and often he is the target. So lends itself to wondering, was Williamson going to take that free kick? And he did, and it was a really great chance.
What an addition Williamson was when he joined this Timbers team last year. Previously was with DC United, acquired via trade with general allocation money, targeted allocation money, and international roster spot in 2018 draft pick going to DC United. One of my favorite facts about Eric Williamson, he's the cousin of singer and actress Queen Latifah.
That was a fact I did not expect you to throw out this evening.
Got all the good ones. As we'll get a bit of housekeeping taken care of here momentarily as Sacramento made a substitute. Gio Calixtro, though, dribbling inside the box, working his way around Tainer. Sends a cross in, doesn't get much on it, though, and easily cleared away by Sacramento. Substitute that came in for the visitors, Stefano Bonomo, in his first year with Sacramento, making his 6th appearance tonight, coming on in place of Sam Werner, who will end this evening without having a direct impact in a goal for his side in this game. The first time he's been on the field for Sacramento this year and not played some direct role in Sacramento scoring a goal. So that'll be a box checked off, you would think, for Cameron Knowles and his side, keeping Sam Werner relatively quiet tonight outside of 1 or 2 opportunities as Dizpay fouls Bonomo. And it'll be a restart near the touchline for Sacramento. Dangerous opportunity here.
Great little penetrating pass down the line. Dizpay goes left foot, tries to tap that in and gets the ball there, but then reaches back with his right. Might have made some contact with with the player, but not a lot of contact, enough to draw the foul, however.
Ball in, Leaker punches away. It was a dangerous ball that came in. Williamson, though, calmly gets it out to Smith. And I believe earns a throw for T2. Yes, indeed, it is a throw for T2. All right, get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for Portland Timbers 2 and then click the follow button to keep you up to date with the latest news and scores, plus get reminders on Portland Timbers 2's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Foul on Portland results in a restart for Sacramento. We're 7.5 minutes plus stoppage time away from the end of this one, as Sierakowski's taken down. Simon Elliott doesn't like the call on Gomez once again. Gomez hasn't had a bad game, but he's been a victim in a couple different situations, few different fouls here and there, and then he, of course, had the handball in the box on the cross from Brian Hurtado. You get the feel as we get later and later in this match, it's going to come down to the T2 defense and if they're able to do enough to keep a clean sheet. This ball in, skips all the way back to Iwasa. Smith wins it away. Iwasa felt like he may have had a shout for a penalty kick. And then a foul called there on Sari as he once again just yanked Eric Williamson away from the ball. And a yellow card once again issued to Sacramento.
Williamson this half has been so clean with his first touch, taking his first touch into space at angles, making it difficult for defenders to stay with him and to recover, and they're getting forced into situations where they're having to foul him because they can't stay in front of him.
It's got to be a great feeling, Laura. I mean, if you're Eric Williamson and you know that other players have to pull your jersey to keep you from doing what you want to do, you got to feel like you're in control of the match at that point.
Like on the one hand, he's trying to keep his shirt on, and on the other hand, he should be pretty pleased with his first touch and his ability to get on the dribble through the Sacramento midfield line.
Sari plays back to Villarreal, another player who hardly feel like we've said his name tonight. Jaime Villarreal, brother Jose, plays for Orlando City. Spent his entire youth and professional career before Sacramento with the Los Angeles Galaxy. It's a homegrown player for them that signed, and now with Sacramento in his second season with Republic FC. Sierakowski's shot blocked by Sari. And then Sari fouls Hansopoulos. And we see the first yellow card of the night for T2. Goes to Sierakowski in the 86th minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at the upcoming 5 games for Portland Timbers 2. Mentioned they play 5 of their next 7 at home, including tonight. They play Colorado Springs next weekend back here at Merlo Field, then out on the road in New Mexico, home against Rio Grande Valley FC. They go to Tacoma to play the former Seattle Sounders 2 club, Tacoma Defiance, and then back home once again for a matchup with the new expansion club, El Paso Locomotive, on May 25th. Move forward here for Portland. Not the best ball from Ojeda. Was looking for Langsdorff on the through ball, but easily cut out by Tainer.
Ojeda did a great job to take that ball inside and create some space to then play the final ball. The final ball just wasn't exactly where it needed to be, but great little run, and he found that fold in between the back line, midfield line. He really kind of broke the midfield line there, and then was looking to play the ball through, just didn't quite connect.
Ojeda's a player that this Timbers organization is very excited about, just 20 years old. We mentioned on loan. Made his pro debut last year for Talleres down in Argentina. So we look at Cameron Knowles in his second season, record of 20-14-4 so far, looking to make it 21-14-4. Just instills confidence in this group, you feel, with the way that he carries himself, the way he talks to his team. He's got surrounded by great assistant coaches in Andrew Greger and Aiden Brown. Just a really good vibe around this T2 side after the first time playoff appearance last year. Didn't quite go the way they want against Phoenix Rising, but obviously Phoenix went on to have a lot of success in the postseason. Ojeda's header back across the 18 to Nathan Smith and cleared out to touch. But Cam Knowles, been through the wars, been through the battles, both as a player and a coach. Had that devastating injury back in 2009, August of 2009, against Montreal, when he was playing for the USL version of the Portland Timbers. Recovered to fight his way all the way back, got back onto the field, and of course came back to this Timbers organization, was an assistant under Caleb Porter with the MLS Timbers about 5-6 seasons, and then took over this job last season and took this Portland Timbers 2 club from the worst in the league to a playoff spot in just one season.
I remember watching Coach Knowles, and he was a great player, and he's definitely translated that knowledge of the game into becoming a very talented coach, disciplined coach, and creating integration with the MLS Timbers and what they want to do with the plan moving forward with their formation and how they work together, him and Gio, and it's a lot of fun to watch this T2 squad.
They can go out and score goals like they have early on this year. They can grind out results like they're hoping to finish off here tonight. Great challenge by Farfan. No, they'll call the foul on Hansopoulos. And Hansopoulos being a bit testy himself, getting in the face of Eric Williamson, obviously trying to waste a little bit of time. As we're into the final 30 seconds plus stoppage time here at the end of the second half, T2 maintaining this slim 1-0 advantage. Cohen, the long punt forward. This ball too far out in front of Bonomo. And we'll see the third and final substitution from T2. It'll be Max Ornstill coming on for the academy player Gio Calixtro. So Cam Knowles going with a more defensive approach, as you would expect here in the final moments of this match. But for the 18-year-old from Cornelius, Oregon, Gio Calixtro, your thoughts on his performance tonight, Laura?
Very young, talented player, having another good showing for T2. Started out in that 4-4-2 and then seemed to make that adjustment to Calixtro coming underneath and playing under Langsdorff for a lot of that, the end of the first half, and it was very effective.
And we see a foul on Harris Hansopoulos. He was already carrying a yellow card. We just saw a second yellow card shown, and he has been sent off. So things have gone sideways for Sacramento. Their second substitute in the second half being sent off after a second yellow card. It's a scenario very rarely, as you mentioned earlier, Laurie, do you see one player who comes on as a sub in the second half get 2 yellow cards and sent off. Now Sacramento's had a second sent off. Simon Elliott's coming over here to talk to the fourth official, Justin St. Pierre. Wasn't a lot of debate from Hansopoulos, but as we take another look, it was a run forward from Ojeda.
No, the ball comes in, he takes his touch, takes a penetrating touch past the defender, and the defender takes him down. It's a very easy call to make, and unfortunately now for Sacramento, they're playing 2 players down.
It helps a bit and I'm not saying it wasn't the right call, but Harris Hansopoulos is 6'4", 200 pounds. Christian Ojeda is 5'6", 130 pounds. So when you're that light, even the lightest of contact will make you go down like a ton of bricks, and that's certainly the way that Ojeda seemed to go down there. Spun away from Hansopoulos, and now Sacramento down to 9 players. Have to imagine that T2 at this point happy to just hold on to possession. As we are into stoppage time, we're playing 4 minutes of stoppage time. We have just 2 minutes left. Have to imagine we'll add 30 or so seconds at least for the yellow card and sending off of Harris Hansopoulos.
If you're T2 now, you just want to finish out this game, see it all the way through. Last 5 minutes of the second half, up 1-0. It's been a bit of a testy second half with lots of fouls, obviously the cards. So both teams obviously want to get out of this game with health, but also for T2 moving forward, putting games like this away, holding the lead, finishing games, especially here in the last 5 minutes. Those are good learning experiences for a young team.
And we talked about in the past as well. I mean, Tulsa, the way that Portland came back in the first game of the season against Tulsa on the road, trailing 1-0 in the second half to get a goal there and earn a point against a Tulsa team that started off the year very hot, to then use that momentum and belief in themselves that when they go down 2 on the road against Oklahoma City, they're able to pick up 3 goals in the second half and come back and win. There's just been different moments that have happened under Coach Cameron Knowles that you've sensed have done a lot to give this team the belief that no matter the situation, no matter the location, they can come back and win a match, get a goal, be as good as they need to be against whoever they're playing, which is something that can't be measured, Laura.
No, and those are invaluable lessons for a young squad of professionals who continue to improve and are learning through the game and learning through these moments of being down 2-0 at halftime and then coming back, or going through a game like this where in the second half, Sacramento Republic is a very strong team, and they've had a lot of success. They're not going to go down easy, and you can see they've battled all the way through this half, and they continue to battle here, picking up this corner.
And we are in and past the 4 minutes of stoppage time. You'd have to imagine that this will be the last opportunity of the match for Sacramento. Can Portland handle one more moment from Sacramento and hold their first clean sheet of the season? It will likely come down to this corner kick. Sorry to strike. He'll go back post. Dizpay rises to win the header, and that is it. Portland Timbers 2 pick up their 4th win in 6 tries and temporarily move into sole possession of first place in the Western Conference of the USL Championship by virtue of a 1-0 win over Sacramento Republic FC.
What another great moment there at the end of the game with Dizpay getting up to clear that ball and making sure that they secure the victory. Another big moment for T2. Sacramento did a great job of creating an opportunity there, even in the last seconds of the game, and sending that in-swinger in. It was a dangerous ball, and Dizpay did a good job to clear it, and T2 gets the victory.
We talked about it early in the match, the importance of holding a clean sheet, and that potentially being job number 1 in Cameron Knowles' mind against Sacramento Republic here today. They do that, and they really rebuff any sort of effort that Sacramento put forward. There really weren't that many great opportunities that Sacramento had to score in this match. So I imagine that if you're Cameron Knowles, you're going in talking to your team, and you're very pleased with the performance today.
Very pleased, and Coach Knowles, you know, he's very intelligent, very skilled coach, was a skilled player, and he knows if you don't get scored on, you're not going to lose. So you always want to keep that clean sheet, because at worst you're going to tie, and you pull one out, you get a good shot, you get a great opportunity to finish it, and win the game.
Well, certainly an interesting and intriguing game to watch. Maybe not as many goals as we might have expected. The weather certainly played a role in that. But the Mojadama penalty kick goal in the 29th minute proved to be enough for T2 today. They move to 4-1-1 on the season. Sacramento Republic, meanwhile, falls to 2-2-1. and will now move forward to their next match at home against Phoenix on the 27th. Well, for our entire team here at Merlo Field on the campus of the University of Portland, our production man, Jose Navarez, my sidekick, Laura Schott, I'm Fletcher Johnson. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Portland Timbers 2 get the job done at home 1-0 over Sacramento Republic FC and remain undefeated here in Portland. We'll talk to you next week for Portland Timbers 2 and Colorado Springs.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.